Welcome everyone to day number 28. Here we are back again with the speed run. I wanted to make a few announcements. It's time to go. F4, D5, knight F3, knight C6, E3, knight F6. Okay, this is the two knights. This is actually pretty common. We throw the bishop to V5 here. He has a lot of options here. Bishop F5, bishop G4, bishop D7. Gonna castle here. And then install the bishop on a fianchetto. So this is actual theory. So this is really interesting. If they play A6, we do not really want to take here. This is the one moment that we don't want to take. The idea is that the knight is really misplaced here. It's blocking the pawn. If we take here, we're sort of solving their problems for them. The bishop also has nothing to do. The bishop is the bench warmer, saying, coach, put me in, coach. I want to play. But here, in this position, of course, if we just don't take the knight, the bishop has nothing to do. We will retreat the bishop to E2. This is really important. In this type of position, this is the best way to give them problems. And completely computer approved, by the way. It's the best move. It looks very strange to be moving the bishop back, but the idea is we've gotten them to tangle up their pieces too much. We've gotten all their pieces just completely tangled up, and so for that purpose, to that end, we do not need to take on C6. The pawn is on C5, it's a bit different then. If the pawn is on C5, you would be taking on C6. All right, half of me thinks that this person is cheating because B5 is an unbelievably strong computer move. This is in my course, believe it or not. This is in my course. From what I remember, yeah, it's just a really weird computer move. I don't know who really would ever guess that. But, you know, suffice to say, as long as my opponent really eats their time away, I'm fine with playing a cheater. Not to throw accusations at in someone's direction, but if you're playing all the computer moves, I'm gonna think you're cheating if you're 1179. So B4 is a strange move. I don't remember that being the theory. It does make sense though. It digs into where my knight would go. I'm gonna play queen C2 here. Notice now with my queen on C2, he cannot play knight B4 because this pawn is covering this. A5. All right, perhaps this person wasn't cheating because that move makes no sense. Here I have a really interesting idea. I like F5 a lot. The idea is, of course, if I take, they take back with the e-pawn. So first, we're going to distract them with F5. This is one of the weirdest structures in all of chess. I've seen this quite a lot in these positions, so because of that, I'm just used to now finding these moves, but F5 is such a weird move. Like, guys, I want you to appreciate this. Just take a moment to look at this position and think if you would ever be able to know what was going on if you saw a position like this for the first moment. Of course, you would have no idea. It's just such a weird structure. It doesn't look like queen pawn at all. It doesn't look like king pawn at all. This is why the bird is so lethal. We're taking here. If knight takes, then I can scoop up the G7 pawn. If knight doesn't take, then this knight has to move. Yeah, that's really crazy. Just for a second there, back here in this position, my opponent played something. Just to finish that point, my opponent played something that was either a fantastic move, a move played by a fantastic player, or a move played by an 1100. No offense. It's fine to be 1100. I was there back in the day. But regardless, you're still at a level where obviously you're not completely experienced. So yeah, with B5, what is going on here? Yeah, B5 is an insanely good move. I mean, it's such an ugly move that I didn't consider it as a grandmaster, but apparently either in this position or one a lot like this, B5 is the best move because our entire idea in this position is C4. All right, let's get back to the game. So my opponent played knight takes D5. We'll snatch on G7 or up a pawn. Now he's left with these two really ugly weak pawns. White has a winning advantage already. Yeah, white is just completely dominating here. Bishop F6. That's not really going to solve any of his problems. If we look, he has tons of pawns on light squares. He needs to keep the dark squared bishop on the board. Yeah, in a weird twist of irony, he had to keep the dark squared bishop on the board. As good as my bishop was, he's going to be left with a lot of weak dark squares now. It's not good to trade off your dark squared bishop if you have dark squared weaknesses. Bishops are the best defender of weaknesses. Queen F6, that is a nice move. My opponent's making some good tactical moves. I'm impressed. Like anyone else would be, I'm impressed. This is a weird position though. What should I do here? This knight actually has some issues being defended. I'm going to play... Looks a little ugly, but I was going to have to play it sooner or later. I'll play d4 and knight will come to d2. If he takes on e3, I can play something like rook e1. He's going to be in the bounce house then. Welcome to the bounce house, pal. That's such a funny expression. I'm going to definitely be using that. I'm going to be using that in... just for the foreseeable future, that expression. I really like it. Let's play knight d2 here. Yeah, my opponent's in a ton of trouble. There's really no pressure yet on g2. If they ever play queen g6, I can always play g3. Queen g5, okay, we'll take the queen. Thanks for the queen, pal. Rook takes, all right, d5 I like a lot. Queen is trying to scope out h8. Queen is a scoping. Yeah, this position is a disaster. Okay, we're just taking more pieces. Yeah, so my opponent initially played a pretty good game. b5, I'm very impressed that they played that. But then at some point, yeah, the game just slipped through their fingers. I can't stress it enough, guys, though. Like this, just look at this position and think about if you would ever be able to guess like the right computer moves in these situations. Yeah, the answer is of course not. Like I'm not able to, pretty much no one is able to. The structures are so weird and so unorthodox. Whoever studied these positions more is just going to know what to do. And that's why you should play the bird. Okay, so here, how can we open up the board? Just play e4, trying to open up this rook. Takes, okay, I'll just take, bring my pawn to f6. Nothing the matter here. Okay, I'll just continue taking. Take with the queen. I'm gonna bring the knight to e4 and f6. Queen can go to d7. Yeah, obviously white has just up too much material here. It has to be completely winning. Okay, here. Is he trying to hide on f8? That's what my move is getting ready for. I'm hoping he goes to f8. All right, he doesn't go to f8, but we're gonna check. Queen d7 will be mate. All right, 1190. Nice game, not a bad game, but a good game. Okay, we got another e4, c5. Are we gonna see a Taimanov? I knew. I just knew at that point. Why even hope for a Taimanov? d5, e5, this is interesting. Knight c6. And yeah, we've gone, this is a very strange position, honestly. This should be better for black, if I'm not mistaken, because this looks like a French advanced, but with a key difference that I haven't locked my bishop out first. Knight c3. I'm just going to take this way. I would assume this is fine for black. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know who's better in this position. Both of us are going to have annoying knight forks. I have no idea what's happening. He's going to take, I'm going to take, my knight's going to be attacking him. Bishop e5, well, that's a mistake. We can trade the queens. We could also take on e5, but then I'm giving him a really big lead in development, so I would rather not do that. Let's just trade queens. Trade queens leads to a very simple advantage. Knight takes. Here, e6 would be fine. I might want to keep this diagonal open for my bishop. I like the idea of bishop d7 more, just immediately mobilizing. I'm threatening knight e5. He pretty much has to take, and I'll take back with the bishop. Okay, he doesn't. Now I can take here. The classic trick. I'm attacking his bishop. He takes, I take, I get my knight out of danger, and now I've netted 2 pawns. 2 free pawns. We're getting it done, guys. It's time to go, time to clap. Pat yourselves on the back, people. We're gonna win this game. We're going up to 1200. I hope everyone's proud of themselves. We did it. We got to 1200. Jokes aside, though, we are almost halfway to 2500. We started at 100. We started at 100. The midpoint would be 1300. Yeah, it's been so long since I started the speedrun. I remember I was literally living in a different place when I started the speedrun. It was like 5 weeks ago, 5 or 6 weeks ago. All right, we'll just trade everything. I will gladly install my rook on c2. pretty much nothing to discuss here. B3. Get my king out. There is no need to castle here. This is an endgame. It's an endgame, y'all. We don't need to castle. Knight D4. He's going to hassle my rook quite a bit. What am I going to do here? I'll play rook D2. He could play knight F5. Knight F5 is a little annoying, but I can play king F8. Even better, look at this. Knight F5, I play king D8. Knight F3, I'll play rook D3. He plays knight B2. Yeah, just the pieces are continuing to rotate around the board. His knight isn't really getting to anywhere better, though. His knight is still really bad on A4. I'll play rook C7. Finally avoiding the attacks. I had to dodge like 5 attacks. If I could just play rook C8, I should be easily winning. It's time to go. It's really time to go. As my video is shutting off, that I have to clear memory space for the video. So hence that's why I had gotten up. All right, we're gonna take. We're taking and we're taking. Knight B2. This should just be an easy win. Just breaking through here. Rook is gonna take 3 pawns. I really like how I have this wonderful structure. Because of this wonderful structure, I have nothing to worry about. He doesn't really have anything to target. Even when his knights were doing their gymnastics around the board, he had nothing to really attack. So I want to keep this knight out of getting to D3. That's why I want to play knight C5 here. Oh, wait, how long did I have knight C3 for? Yeah, knight C3. Very big threat here. He could try knight D4. He could try knight D4, but then I play rook D2, and he still has 2 things hanging. The point, of course, is if his rook moves immediately, I just take the knight. He's in a lot of trouble here. Knight D4, I play rook D2. And now the difference here is he could play rook C1. If I take, he'll take back, and I don't have mate, because that knight is covering it. But what I do have is this. I could take this way, and if he takes, then I'll mate. He goes there, but now I can take, and I'm defending my knight. Or I'm defending my rook. Nice, I got a piece. I got a piece. We're breaking 1200, guys. Call Grandpa. We're breaking 1200. It's time to go. Yeah, I'm honestly, let me know in the comments, guys, how long do you think the speedrun is going to be? The goal with the speedrun is to get to 2500. This is only going to take longer as the days progress. For now, I'm getting like a solid 30 points per video, but sooner or later that's going to become 25 points, then 20 points, then 15 points, then 14 points. And yeah, you guys get the message. Someone is playing music nearby. I'm not sure if it's a car or if it's a party. I would assume it's a car. This area is really residential. It's full of like families and retired people. I don't think there would be many parties here. But alas, the music pumping in the background begs to disagree. Is that deadmau5? I think they're playing deadmau5. I like deadmau5. Just gonna throw this pawn down the board. Yeah, people are starting to fight a lot more. People are resigning a lot less at the time. Let's play knight d5, just try to trade the knights off. Knight d3, I could play knight c3 check. There. All right, let's throw in a check. King f2, d2. Well, here this has to be bad. Gonna make a queen here. It's time to go, pal. It's not looking good. Here, knight d2, queen f1 will be made. Knight e3, yeah, knight e3 holds on a little bit, but it's still going to be mate. Check, check, and mate. right, nice. 1198, we're almost there. Yeah, only now as I'm doing the speedrun am I starting to appreciate that, yeah, at higher levels, there's just so many fewer people. Because I'm looking at every single game, pretty much I'm going up 8 points or 7 points. They're almost always pairing me. They just have such a huge pool of players at this level that they're always pairing me with someone almost identical to my rating. Like you get so much more of an even match at this level than where I am. Where I am normally, and by the way, guys, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just talking. I'm just riffing and raffing. Again, here we play Bishop E2, remember? In these, yeah, where I am currently at the moment, like at 2,700, 2,600, usually 2,800, I'd be lucky if I get someone within 50 points of me. Normally I need to cast a very wide net with the search to get someone. Bishop C5. Well, I want to play C4, but here if we play C4, they can play D4. They have too many pieces covering D4, so we can't do that just yet. We could definitely play D4 with the Stonewall, but the bishop is actually in a decent place on F5. I'm going to need to double check this line. I don't actually know what I'm supposed to do here. I think maybe, did I play, B3 might have been wrong. Maybe I was supposed to play castles first. Because this position looks completely fine for him. D4 would be okay, but you know, his bishop is decent here. I need to be able to meet D4 with something though, but I don't really know what else I could do. I guess I have to play D4. I must have messed this up somewhere. This is still a fine position for white. Still definitely not bad. We're getting a Stonewall up several tempi, so it can't be bad. But the fact that this bishop is outside here means it's okay for black. Install the knight on E5. Take this way. We're going to play knight D2. Queen is going to come to G5, isn't it? That rascal. What are we going to do here? Bishop is probably bad on B6. I like bishop A3 a lot. Bishop A3 slices through here, but at the same time, they could always play C5. It doesn't do that much yet. I want to play knight D2. My issue with knight D2 is they play queen G5. Queen G5, we don't really have anything, and they're just attacking us. Actually, though, no. If queen G5, we have rook F3, and the plan is quite simple there. We're going to take and then play rook G3. Very weird Stonewall on our hands. Again, I think I messed this up slightly, but not a bad position in itself. Okay, they just dropped a piece. Just dropped a piece. He was getting too feisty. He wanted the checkmate. That we've seen this a lot now. People, they get their pieces close to our king in the burn, and they just start to think that they have checkmate. No checkmate today, buddy. This is the bounce house. Don't you forget. All right, we're going to trade. We're trading here. Gotta break 1,200 today. Gotta break 1,200 today. It's time to go. Rook G3, if he wants to defend this pawn, he'll have to keep his queen on a really ugly square. I could just play queen F1, queen F4. This position is a disaster for him. All right, he disconnected. We got an abandon. Yeah, we haven't had an abandon in a while. At least 10 games or so. Back in the day, we were getting abandons all the time. And today, there's only one thing to say about it. It's time to go. All right, I am definitely going to be reporting him for poor sportsmanship and poor bounce house etiquette. Honestly, I find that so rude though. Like, why are you going to disconnect? Why not just click resign and then like close your computer? I really don't like it. I think it's very weak sportsmanship. Should be 5, we're attacking C6. All right, so here apparently everyone is playing this now. At lower levels, I'm happy I invested so much time in this. I put a lot of work into this chapter in my course. I had no idea that everyone at 1,200 is playing this. This is like the 4th time we've seen this in the past 10 games. And yeah, just like I said before, do not chop on C6. There is no need to yet. Yeah, their bishop, normally they're going to be going for this setup with E6. I'll have to double check my course. The thing is technically they haven't pushed E6 here yet. They could have opted for a bishop F5 setup. Normally though, you're going to see this position with them already having played E6. I assume if they play A6, you could just take and then play knight E5 and you'd be doing well, but They could play bishop d7 and avoid the ugly structure after knight takes bishop. So let's get back to the position. So here we play c4. This is the classic. We're going to play c4, and we have a lot of ideas. We could try d4 and c5. Another classic idea is queen c2 and f5. Such a weird position. Such a weird position with these two bishop pawns on opposite sides of the board, both of which are crunching in on the center. Completely mind-boggling stuff. Mind-boggling and mind-bending. Mind-boggling nonetheless. Bishop d6, that's taking way too long though. So what should I do here? I can't remember exactly what to do. Queen c2, I need to review the bird course. I'm gonna have to add that to the list of things I have to do. It's a great course, by the way. I'm proud of how it turned out. There are some things that I have to fix, hence the updates, but overall, like, people who have looked through the course, they can tell I put a lot of time into it. They can tell that it's a work of passion. They can tell that it's a work of passion and a work of dedication to the world's finest of openings. Okay, so I want to play queen c2. The problem is knight b4. And knight b4, I would more or less have to make a useless move like queen c1. I'm wondering, though, if that means I should waste a move on a3. Some moments in the bird course, I recommend d4, but I don't think I need to do that yet. Let's just play knight c3. The idea is we're crunching in on d5 a bit more. Now f5 is becoming a serious idea. Like, there are lots of positions. I play f5, they take, and we take with the c-pawn. This could go very well. I want to keep the tension, honestly. I really like this tension that's building. This is like a pressure cooker. So knight c3, knight e4. What are we going to do here? Can't I just take this pawn? Oh, they take here. Tricky. Feisty stuff. Could play queen c2. Definitely not a bad trade to trade off these two knights. That knight was defending his kingside, and this knight was just blocking our pieces. I'm wondering, though, after knight e4 pawn takes, this pawn is really off balance. That pawn is really off balance. Is there any way I could win the pawn? I don't think so. Sadly, I don't think so. This is an insane position. I can only say it so many times. This is just completely wild. If I take, he takes with the knight. I take with the bishop, he takes with the pawn. I've just solved a lot of his problems for him. I shouldn't do that. Let's play queen c2. I like queen c2. Queen c2 keeps all the options open. Starting to shoot down this diagonal. Now c takes is an actual threat because knight takes I can take with the queen and threaten mate. Yeah, I'm wondering where that music is coming from. Someone is having a party nearby. Someone is having a party nearby, and it's a residential area. And the police are certainly getting called. And these are the Brazilian police we're talking about. These are the real tough guys. The real wise guys. Yeah, honestly, the fact that I'm recording this video makes me feel a lot better about the music. I would be really upset if I was like in bed trying to sleep and there was this music throbbing endlessly. But, you know, life, work has its silver linings. I'm doing something productive. I'm using the time effectively. I'm getting things done. I'm getting things done. And it's time to go. Is my opponent disconnected? What's going on? A really wild position at the moment. He could try f5. f5 opts for a Stonewall, but then I take. Yeah, takes, I take with the knight. Everything is going well. Well, he takes that way, I take with the queen. Threatening mate. He's in a lot of trouble here. He has to play f6. So the big question now, if he plays f6, what should we do here? There is a really classic rule of thumb in the bird. If they play f6, you should be trying to strike on the light squares. My first instinct is to throw an f5. Unfortunately, in this position, I don't think that really does anything. If we trade there, they just take with the bishop and we haven't accomplished anything. Instead, I would assume that the best idea is just to play c5. We're going to go for a Stonewall now. This is the best moment to go for a Stonewall. His bishop is forced off of this diagonal. His pieces are forced on their... Okay, so this is interesting. I was going to say that a Stonewall is best. A Stonewall would definitely be okay. But weirdly enough, we don't need to worry about e5 anymore because when he plays bishop e7, e5 is pretty much always off the cards. His pieces are way too ugly there. So when he plays bishop e7, my plan is going to be b4, a4, and b5. We're just going to try to encroach on the queen side. And at the moment, you know, the drawback to not playing d4 is that I'm not controlling the center as much with pawns. But the flip side, the positive of the double-edged d pawn is that I'm not blocking this diagonal at all. And my pieces really dominate the long diagonal here. This position is unbelievably uncomfortable for him. I mean, I have just such a simple plan. I'm just going to play a4, b5, boot the knight out, and then worry about continuing my position and building up my advantage from there. Where is the knight even going to go after b5? Very uncomfortable questions. f5? Ah, he's playing bishop f6. Tricky guy. A crafty guy. All right. This is interesting. So we'll play b5 here. Happy to encroach further. If he plays bishop f6, I could move my queen away, but if I move my queen away, I'm giving him some time, right? If I play queen b3. So yeah, like if he plays bishop f6, if I play queen b3, I'm giving him a tempo. I think only now after bishop f6 would I play d4 when he spent so many moves trying to get his pieces good. Now it's perfect to build the Stonewall there with his bishop pointing straight at it. To be clear, I was talking about this position. If he played bishop there, I would play for d4. Here, he's played knight a7. He's going for something completely different. I talk a lot about this in my course. If you have knights tangoing in the center, then feel free to hop on the dance floor. They go knight a7. Their knight is no longer covering e5. That means knight e5 is the perfect move at the moment. Hitting the bishop, hitting the rook. He could take this pawn and threaten my queen. I would just take back. He takes, I take here. I would assume that's winning. I'm threatening queen g7 with a dastardly attack. Yeah, this position's a real disaster for him. Yeah, what is he going to do? He has to play bishop f6 pretty much, but then I can take. He takes my queen. I take his queen. He takes my bishop. No, but at the end of the day, I'm up a piece there. I've gotten a rook and queen. He's gotten a queen and a bishop. Yeah, here we're going to take. Hitting the queen. He plays queen e7. Okay, I was going to say if he plays queen e7, I could take on h6 even. But actually, no, knight e5 would be much better. So he takes, we take the queen. He's going to take this piece, and now here I play rook b1. I'm hitting the bishop, also defending this pawn. It just, it really works out swimmingly how all of the things that are important in this position were all on the b file. His hanging b2 bishop, this weak b pawn, and here I can just take. And I'm going to play c6, cement my knight. I'm just up in exchange here for nothing. I'll play d4 next with a fantastic Stonewall. Yeah, there's no need to play c6 yet. I'll just play d4. Fantastic Stonewall at the moment. Great stuff. Great stuff going on. 1206. Rook b8, we'll play c6. It's time to go, pal. We got to get things moving. All right, this knight is just trapped here. I'll play d4, making sure that the bishop is not covering this square. Rook a1 is coming next. The knight is really a goner. I guess technically he could play knight c8, knight... Yeah, his knight isn't trapped just yet, but it's looking very bad. I could have played b6 even. I didn't notice that. I could play b6 takes. All right, this looks like it's completely over, actually. I play b6 here, he takes. I take, he takes, and then I'm going to play c7. So yeah, look at this. Knight takes. We take here, we're playing c7, he plays rook c8, and then I play rook c1, and I'm about to play knight d6 and boot the... I'm about to play knight d6 and boot the rook out. And that is critical in these situations. Well, actually, wait. If I play rook c1, he plays bishop e7. He keeps everything on ice. So instead, we should just play knight d6 here. Let's immediately attack these two. Rook takes c7. I just snatch another piece. Yeah, this is definitely the simplest. I wanted to analyze some variations, but he just immediately took. We'll take here. Rook c3. I'll just take again. Playing king f2, this is completely winning. Up a piece, he has one pawn to show for it, but it's not even an impressive pawn here. Okay, I'll just take all the pawns. I don't think that was effective for him. Gonna play rook b1, target this pawn. Then gonna target both pawns with rook b5. All right, let's play bishop f3. Bishop wants to break through on d5. Unbelievably uncomfortable position. He plays king e6. Can I play king f4? I like king f4. Rook c4 check. I can block with e4. It looks a little crazy, but the idea is I'm just gonna take this pawn with a check and kick his king out. And once I kick the king out, I'll be able to take and win with this e pawn. It's a matter of efficiency, everyone. I'm just trying to have the most efficient win. Let's throw in a check. King has to go to the back rank. This is looking very ugly. King f6, he plays rook check. He still has some tricks. Let's play e6 instead. It's time to go. We got to get moving. Check, king here. He can finally take a piece, but he's getting mated. All right. So yeah, we'll end this episode here. Day number 28 in the books. It's really become a priority for me to get the speedrun over with. It's honestly something that I enjoy doing, and it's something that I don't really have to think about that much in terms of like what I need to create. Just to give you guys some insight into my personal life, and by personal life, I mean my work life, because all I'm doing at the moment is working. I have to update the bird course. There are a few issues with the bird course that I have to send in updates for. I need to prepare my super secret king pawn response to the king pawn repertoire. I'm also building another mystery repertoire against the Queen's Gambit. So I have all these different projects currently going about. And right now at this point, the only way that I can manage to keep these videos up is if I don't need to think at all about what type of idea I'm producing. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for continuing to support the channel. It means the world to me. I think by all the metrics, this channel is going to eventually really take off and skyrocket and fly high like the eagle. But for right now, I just need to manage my priorities. At the moment, YouTube is paying me almost nothing, so it needs to come a little bit lower down on the priorities. YouTube is honestly one of my biggest passions though, so eventually I do expect it to be like my main thing. It's eventually going to be my main project. But the goal now at the moment is just, get a lot of these courses out, put as much value as I can into these courses. And then once those are all finished, then YouTube will start being a lot more profitable because I can just direct people over to these really high value, high quality courses. And that would be something honestly really enjoyable because I do love making chess content. The goal is that within like a year or two of just finishing all these different courses that I have goals for, I will be able to fully focus on YouTube and I'll be able to make shorts. I'll be able to make more high quality content. I have tons of ideas at the moment for interesting chess videos. The whole problem though is I just don't have the time. I literally don't have the time. I'm editing videos. I'm doing these 3 different courses with the bird updates, the 2 other courses. I'm also teaching chess lessons. I'm trying to record the videos for the YouTube. I also have the side project of making the Portuguese YouTube channel. And then apart from that, I'm also trying to make friends here in Brazil. So I'm trying to go to gatherings and stuff. And it's honestly insanely hard to keep up with everything. It's a good time in my life, a really fantastic time in my life. I'm sure when I watch this video 5 years from now, I'm almost going to be jealous of this time because I honestly feel like I'm at one of my most happiest moments in my life, weirdly enough, because I just feel like I'm making daily progress to so many different goals that I've always been meaning to achieve. So definitely, please don't leave any boohoos in the comments. I'm not saying this to like say, oh, like poor me, I have so much work. I'm happy about the work. I like the work. But I have to be realistic at the same time. And yeah, for like the next month or so, we're going to be really leaning into the bird speedrun. I'll try to release 1 or 2 other videos in terms of other topics. Like I like doing the Title Tuesdays. I think those are good. Also, I might do like a Quest to 3000 once a week. But with that being said, yeah, just get ready for a lot of speed runs. I want to ride the bird all the way up to 2500. We gotta soar with this rapid rating.